Minutes past the 8 o'clock hour on Tuesday, May the 9th. Green Mountain Mornings continuing now. Your host, Chris Lenois. Tuesday is also the day we get together with members of the Brattleboro Reformer staff, and today we are joined by Chris Mays. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Chris.
Good to have you on here. Breaking news this morning. The third and final Tavernier Chocolate Golden Ticket was found. Was it found yesterday?
Sunday.
Found on Sunday, and you did the story yesterday, and it is front page news in this morning's Brattleboro Reformer, as were the other two golden tickets being found.
Yep.
Great stories, all these three things, but just to kind of recap for people who may not be aware of what this promotion was, give a little background on this golden ticket promotion.
Yeah, the downtown organization, it's called Downtown Brattleboro Alliance, they came up with this promotion that would kind of play off of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory contest, where the winner wins a tour of the chocolate factory, but instead with this, they win a year of free parking in downtown Brattleboro.
Almost as good as a chocolate factory, downtown Brattleboro.
Yeah, everyone who won was pretty excited about it, even if they weren't going to use it.
It would be better if it guaranteed you a spot, but there are plenty of spots in Brattleboro now, and a lot of people talk about parking in this town, but I think that really, honestly, you can find spots pretty easily, and now even more so if you have one of these free passes. But seemed like a pretty successful publicity move by the Downtown Business Alliance. You wrote 3 stories about it with each time people won, as well as a promo.
Right.
Those were all in the past week. You also made mention this got some national media attention.
Yeah, we were kind of a little surprised when the Associated Press picked up the first story, and then they did the winners too. I think at least one of them I saw, and it was on Conan O'Brien's late night show.
Yeah, that's great stuff for this town. We certainly reported on it, and when the promotion came out, and been reporting on the winners as well, and nice stories with these different winners. Talk a little bit about the winners today. Is Steve Heim? Is the winner of the third and final golden ticket in today's paper?
Yeah, he recently purchased some buildings downtown, and he's he was in one of the stores, Penelope Wars retail shop on Main Street, and he decided to pick up a chocolate bar. Him and his girlfriend each got one. She bought them, and his was the winner. He turned around and donated it to Penelope, who then said, "Oh, I can't take this. I sell the chocolates, and you're my landlord."
Yeah, so a couple of ineligible people probably as far as getting it.
Yeah, she did say, well, who has a landlord like this? Such a nice guy, and she turned around and then gave it to the Brattleboro Museum and Art Center, and they're gonna have a drawing that people can put their names into a hat, and at the end of the month, they'll have a drawing. Whoever gets that will be the winner of the golden ticket, I guess.
So free for the Museum and Art Center. They're not raffling off this ticket after somebody bought the bar.
No.
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense. But I think that's really nice. Again, you're talking about this whole downtown business community realizing that this has value. And it's nice promotion now, paying it forward, if you will, to the Brattleboro Museum and Art Center. I'm sure Danny Lichtenfeld, their director, was very appreciative of that.
Yeah, and he just wanted to expand it and, get some more fun, some more mileage out of the whole promotion.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, all the stories I thought were great. The name alone of the second golden ticket winner, Boogie Schaefer, winning this second golden ticket. And this is another situation where a boyfriend and girlfriend just kind of buying a couple of chocolate bars on a lark and one of them winning, right?
Yeah, they were really happy about it. They were saying, the Boogie was saying, "Oh yeah, I went around singing, I got a golden ticket."
Those are the kind of people that you want to win this. Not to say anything against Mr. Heim and winning, but these two people had an actual need for this parking pass, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and they share a car, so it's going to work out for them. They'll be able to use the parking pass together. The first winner was an interesting case too. It was a woman who works at Retreat Farm, and she says, "Oh, I don't come downtown a lot, but maybe now that I have the free parking, I will." So Maybe they got some more shop visits out of that too.
Yeah, congratulations. In that case, it was Katrina Razianal. Is that how you say her last name?
I believe so. Yeah.
It's easier to just have them on the page, unlike radio where we've got to say the names. But I thought that was cool. Again, a worker kind of activity where somebody just bought a bunch of chocolate bars for some of their coworkers, and one of them happened to be a winner. Do you think the Downtown Business Alliance expected these chocolates to be purchased and these winners to happen basically within a week, right? I mean, the contest just launched May 1st.
Yeah, it's supposed to end on May 14th.
Right.
But yeah, I think they were a little surprised at how fast it went.
Because you're talking, how many chocolate bars?
1,000.
1,000 chocolate bars, and only 3 of these golden tickets among them. I wonder how many they've sold. I don't know if they have a sense of that, or if they're going to know at the end of this when they've sold out. Do they have a sense how many they've sold so far?
No, I didn't hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta check. Well, how can you check that other than going store to store? I don't think anybody at the Downtown Business Alliance is necessarily tracking how many of these bars have been sold so far.
I think they were loosely asking, who still has bars left.
Right.
Where could this last golden ticket be?
Right. But that was great. I mean, they got a nice week's worth of publicity out of this, both locally as well as nationally. Going to bring more people downtown with this free parking, giving it to some people who, in the case of Katrina, doesn't go downtown a lot, right? But she said she probably will now.
Yeah.
And then you have the employees of the 2 local places downtown getting to use this, and then now the museum getting a little mileage out of it.
Yeah.
It was very, very cool promotion by them, and nice job by you staying on top of it here with these 3 golden tickets. All right, we did dessert.
They're calling me Charlie.
Are they
in the office? Yeah,
we did dessert first here on the Green Mountain Mornings program. Our regular visit with Chris Mays. There's serious news afoot too, and we'll talk about that with him when we come back after the bottom of the hour news break. Hey, I appreciate you called it Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Roald Dahl book, rather than the Willy Wonka movie.
Thanks.
But here is the Willy Wonka "I've Got a Golden Ticket" song to take us out.
I've got a golden chance to make my way.
Chris Lenois back with you on the Green Mountain Mornings program at 22 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour. Continuing our conversation with Chris Mays, staff reporter for the Brattleboro Reformer. All his articles online at reformer.com. Always good to talk to you, as we were just saying off the air, Chris, in between the select board meeting weeks about some of the business that happens here in Brattleboro. You write stories that come out in a lot of the ensuing days after these select board meetings. It seems like a lot of different stories get generated by it. Probably one that is going to be with us for a while is the presentation made by the Vermont Department of Transportation last Tuesday about roundabouts on Route 5, which is a state highway, so this is a V-Trans project. A pretty lengthy presentation from what I understand. Last week I couldn't watch the select board meeting on BCTV because I was covering a lacrosse game at the field. Sounds like you got a very detailed presentation from V-Trans about this Putney Road plan.
Yeah, I think it was just under an hour and a half. The presentation and then questions afterwards.
You could probably give the presentation yourself now after going through that.
I don't know. They had this really cool virtual simulation of what it might look like, and I don't know if I could do that.
Okay. Well, people can go to BCTV, BrattleboroTV.org probably, and see that presentation and certainly learn more about this. And I have to tell you, I was talking to your Wendy Levy at the Commons yesterday about this, and then I saw on Facebook later on somebody saying, I just heard on the radio that they're planning these roundabouts on Putney Road, Route 5. That sounds like a horrible idea. I don't know if you've heard similar reaction or what you've been hearing from some of the stories you wrote about it. You wrote about this under the headline "Unprecedented in Vermont." This was in the weekend edition of the Reformer.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a mixed bag. Some people say I can do without the lights. It'll be easier when it's less crowded, and since they're single lane, I think there's a little bit more support. I think having a couple lanes might make it confusing and sort of like the existing roundabout right now. And
yeah, the one on exit 3, a lot of people have problems with, but a lot of people agree that's operator error.
Yeah.
As far as and actually some marking issues too. I know that that was part of your story, John Allen, hoping that correcting some of those signage issues with the exit 3 roundabout would be part of this project, but that's not the case.
Yeah, they said maybe we could take a look at this in a separate, project.
So what is this project specifically? What are they proposing to do on Putney Road?
4 new roundabouts from where the marina is on the bridge by the West River to the existing roundabout.
Right. So the 3 traffic lights basically that are already on Putney Road, the one at the Fairfield Plaza, the one at the Hannaford Plaza, and then the one further down to Black Mountain Road. Is that going to be a roundabout as well?
Yeah, and then there's one other one, I think.
And then the one by the marina that you were just talking about. Where quite honestly, they need to do something. That is a really dangerous intersection. You have a lot of pedestrians who try to cross the road to use the canoe rental place.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to do something there because that's right where the speed limit goes from 25 to 40, I think, as you come across that bridge.
Yeah, they're going to put some sidewalks in over there, too.
Yeah, that's part of this, too. And anything for cyclists?
I think they're gonna have bike lanes all throughout. I forget the exact details behind it, but
Yeah, well, a lot still to hash out with this plan. I mean, where are they in the phase for this right now?
well, they're still putting the finishing touches on the plan.
Right.
So we're hoping. The board's hoping to hear an update before they start going for permits and right of ways and then construction.
Yeah, we're a long ways out even from starting construction, much less seeing an end to this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what are we talking about in terms of the timeline?
I forget. It's going to be.
I highlighted it in your story for you, even, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris makes me do everything on this show. I just want
About
all the
6 to
listeners to know.
7
He
years.
makes me print out his stories. He makes me mark them up. He's a taskmaster.
Yeah, they're going to expect it to take 6 to 7 years to do all of what I just mentioned.
Yeah, 6 to 7 years. And so plenty of time for people to weigh in about it, talk a little bit more about it. I mean, are they still taking input? You said they're finalizing the plans. If somebody has a concern, they could certainly weigh in on it.
Yeah, they're going to be meeting with businesses, the ones who will be affected by it.
Yeah, so keep your ears out for any other future public hearings about it if you have something you want to say. Although I'm sure somewhere along the line someone would say, hey, I didn't know they were doing this. When did they have meetings about this? Because that's just the Brattleboro way.
Yeah.
Another story you had from last week's select board meeting had to do with them hiring a new energy coordinator, Phoebe Gooding. And you got to talk to her. I was just telling you, I've met Phoebe socially before. Seems like a nice person. I had no idea what her background was, but she seems like the perfect candidate for energy coordinator.
Yeah, she's finishing up her master's degree at Antioch, and that's the same place Paul Cameron, the previous energy coordinator, graduated from and then took on the position. She's studying conservation biology there.
Yeah.
And she works at Rich Earth Institute.
Yeah, so she's got some qualifications. Did she sound excited about the job? Did she sound surprised she got it? Or what was her reaction?
She was excited, and she was kind of, she was really appreciative and happy that they appointed her. She didn't really delve into the issues yet because I think she still has some meeting to do with the energy committee and figuring out what her job will really entail.
Right, but as Michael Bosworth, who chairs that energy committee, told you in your story, they like her marketing and outreach skills. That's certainly a part of this, is to justify the investment that the town has now made, allotting $10,000 in taxpayer money to pay the contract for Phoebe. It mentions in your story that one of the 3 candidates, Thomas Franks, withdrew his application just before the meeting. Do we know why?
He wrote a letter saying that any of the other two candidates would be good. So I'm wondering if he just felt like a sense of duty, like, oh, somebody needs to take on this position so we can keep up with the good work we've been doing.
Right, because he was a candidate even before it was allotted. They allotted the $10,000. I want to say he's been somebody who's been interested in this position for a while.
Yeah, and the select board was almost ready to appoint him, I think. And, and then all of a sudden there was some other interest when the money popped up. So
right, yeah, and they said, we should probably advertise this, go through the process of actually, having different applicants apply, and I guess to the better.
Yeah.
When they found Phoebe, and apparently the other person who applied for the job was qualified as well, an SIT student. So great job for the town to make that hire. I want to shift here to some of your outlying town coverage in the past week. Actually, some pretty big stories coming from some of the outlying towns that you had stories about. Hard to believe it was just a week ago Monday that the town of Wardsboro went back and voted on their merging with Dover under Act 46, but they did, and they voted in the affirmative this time, and amazing how many more people came out for this special vote than voted on this on town meeting day. Was that your takeaway from it?
Yeah, they had more people come out for for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 98-57 vote, and
When you spoke with the superintendent of Wardsboro, excuse me, well, the board chair, David Sklar, not the superintendent, but the board chair there. Oh no, you did speak to the superintendent as well, Bill Anton. What did they attribute? Do you think this better turnout for this special vote versus town meeting day?
basically the superintendent said it was a mixture of the school board's endorsement of the merger plan and also just participation of the community all around.
Yeah, I mean the vote on town meeting day 79-62. And then you had on the Monday special vote, 98-57. Less people voted against it this time than voted for it during the town meeting day by quite a bit. And so I thought that was interesting. So next steps for them, basically getting it approved by the state?
It just has to be. It doesn't have to be approved. I think it just has to be some kind of certification of it of the vote, and then the super board will start meeting, and then eventually, I think it's 2 years. Then the school boards eventually dissolve.
Right. It seemed also another incentive for the voters in Wardsboro. They wanted to take advantage of that property tax incentive while it was still there. Was that your takeaway?
Yeah, that was one of the things, but I think the other thing was, the state board coming down and deciding on mergers after school districts don't merge on their own.
Right.
I think a lot of people are thinking, well, Dover is our neighbor. We both operate K through 6, districts, so it just makes sense.
Yeah, it was an easier fit than Marlboro, who was also talking about merging, but they didn't want to give up 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah, and both Dover and Wardsboro have school choice, so I think a lot of people want to keep that.
Right. So we'll see what happens with Marlboro now. Of course, there's still legislation pending up in Montpelier that might help out Marlboro and some of these other towns, but that has yet to be resolved. Another story that you had, actually, this was in yesterday's paper about a voicemail system hack at the town offices in Newfane, running up a bill of $25,000. That's a lot of long-distance calls.
Yeah.
Was this just discovered when the town of Newfane got a bill, or did they actually get a notification they were hacked from Fairpoint, their carrier?
To be honest, I don't know. They're just a little hesitant to pay the $3,000 even. They're hoping they could somehow get that waived.
Yeah, how did this get reduced from $25,000 to $3,000 or $3,300 really?
Well, Fairpoint said this is the lowest rate we can give you for international calls.
So basically, they agree with the town of Newfane that the town of Newfane didn't place these calls, right? I mean, that seems to me but they still want them to pay some amount of money for it because they don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
And so what was the select board's response?
They're going to send them a figure that's more similar to the ones that they've been paying.
Right, their monthly bill.
Yeah, and a letter from their lawyers, trying to work this out.
So you have Shannon Meckel, the administrative assistant to the select board in this article, saying that Fairpoint has since put in protections to prevent future hacking. Why not just have those protections in place in the first place? What prevented Fairpoint from going and doing it, especially since they told them that this has been happening to a lot of municipalities and a lot of nonprofits?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not expecting you. I'm sorry. I'm not expecting you to answer that as much as like Fairpoint clearly knew this was an issue.
Well, I'm not sure
right?
if it was Fairpoint that put these in or if some outside consultant or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it says protections on the system have now been put in place to prevent future hacking, but the bill from Fairpoint, I assumed it was Fairpoint who would make that change.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
To prevent the hack. Okay. Because then you have the quote from the Fairpoint people saying, oh yeah, we get this a lot with nonprofits, municipalities, they're being targeted. Well, why aren't you proposing a fix so you're not all of a sudden billing municipalities thousands of dollars that they don't have?
Yeah.
But we'll let the attorneys for Newfane take that up. That seems to
It'll
be
be interesting.
a bit of a reach to ask the town of Newfane to come up with $3,000 for that. We don't have a lot of time to get to this story that you had about Saddle Ridge Village over in the Wilmington area, but a very well-attended development review board meeting that you wrote about over the weekend over this Saddle Ridge development, and pretty much everybody really concerned about this development. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, a lot of people are concerned about what it will do to their neighborhood, but other people are more concerned about what it will do to their property and whether they'll be able to build on these lots that they've had.
Now, Saddle Ridge, this is one of those transactions that the Hermitage Club needed to make in order to clear the way to do their other development. Is this really a free and clear transaction from Hermitage Club? I remember you and I talked a little bit about this, how they were kind of, I don't want to say they set up shell companies because that's probably a little bit too extreme, but they were sort of distancing themselves from certain aspects of properties they had in order to get the Act 250 permit, right?
Yeah, it seems to be a project of Comtuck, this company out of New York. You know, they had a surveyor who was involved with the Hermitage Club, but he's a local surveyor.
Okay, so it's not like there are still ties between Hermitage Club and Comtuck.
Not that I can see right now.
Right.
No.
People, I thought, in the Wilmington area, by and large, thought that the Hermitage Club development was a pretty good idea. I mean, they've certainly had their concerns about doing it right, but they seem by and large to understand that the Hermitage Club building this hotel is good for the local economy. It doesn't seem like they have a similar sentiment about this Comtuck project.
Well, this is, a smaller segment of the community. There are people at the meeting who were supportive of the development as long as it didn't encroach upon their property. So
right.
There's the larger community might be supportive of the project because it's going to build the grand list, but the people at this meeting are more concerned about what it's going to do to their property.
Right. And that's always the tightrope that needs to be walked in any of these development projects, keeping it rural, keeping it Vermont, but at the same time attracting the outside money and people who want to actually come here and have all the modern urban amenities, but still in the rustic setting of Vermont. Good luck to the folks in Wilmington continuing to try and achieve that. Good luck to you continuing covering that, Chris. I appreciate you coming in this morning. What else you got working for this week?
Well, actually, related to this is the Act 250 opinion that this project will need a full Act 250 review, and the developers can appeal the decision, but it looks like they're going to have to go through a big time review, which the Hermitage Club was trying to avoid when they sold the property.
Right on. All right. Reformer.com is where you can see Chris Mays' byline as well as the print edition of the Reformer. We will be back to wrap up this edition of Green Mountain Mornings right after these messages.